completely justified and defensive. They've been completely honest when they said that 1 million babies dying in Iraq from a decade of sanctions was worth it. They're not being hypocritical. They're not saying one thing and meaning another thing. These are their actual values, and you have to understand this. There is a fundamental and profound difference between their values and our values. They're not contradicting their values. You must understand, they're not betraying their values. They are acting on their values with consistency and continuity. Committing massacres against innocent civilians does not trouble their conscience, any more than you stepping on a bug troubles your conscience. They don't see anything to feel guilty about. They feel that they've done something good. You have to understand this, because if you don't, you will severely and dangerously underestimate their danger. And you'll make the fatal mistake of believing that you can ever appeal to their sense of morality, that you can ever appeal to their conscience. And you make the catastrophic mistake of trusting them or trusting their intentions. And wallahi, there are tens of millions of their victims crying out from their graves, telling you not to trust them. You know, just like someone watching a horror movie and shouting at the screen, telling the main character, don't go down that dark alley. If you could hear the voices of their millions of victims, they would tell you exactly what's going to happen to you if you listen to them and if you trust them. If you're Muslim, or you're not white, or you're not rich, you need to recognize that they have zero moral hesitation about killing you. Yes, whether you live outside of America or whether you live inside of America, it's the same to them. The worst thing you can do is ever underestimate this reality. Listen, just like with an individual, you can learn what their values are by what their actions are. Much better than by what their words are. People can tell you all kinds of things about what their values are, what they believe, and so on, what their morals are. But their actions, their deeds will tell you the truth. You don't know anything about what they believe by their words alone. You have to see to what extent their actions align with their words, because people do things that they believe are morally acceptable. Now, sure, that doesn't mean that people always act in accordance with their conscience. People can slip up. There can be aberrations. We're human beings. But the actions that someone commits habitually, regularly, routinely, with consistency, this is what they believe in. Whatever they say to the contrary is just them lying either to you or to themselves or both. But you have to believe what they do, not what they say. And like I said, when they say that what they do is moral, then that tells you what they consider to be moral behavior. Because it's not like America ever apologized for their wrongs. Until now, they've got the Native Americans holed up in reservations, and they're poisoning them right now with uranium. And I'm telling you, they're doing that because they believe it is morally acceptable to do that. No, don't you ever think that they are like you and I. They're not like us. This is incredibly dangerous. They're bloodthirsty, and they see nothing wrong whatsoever in quenching that thirst. The same way that you see nothing wrong with drinking a glass of water, they can spill your blood with the same nonchalance. And all you have to do is look at their history to know that. And you know, they'll always say, oh, every civilization was violent. Every empire was violent. America isn't unique, or the West isn't unique about that. There's nothing strangely distinct about the West in terms of violence. Okay, look, let's look at the Muslims. Because this is something that they love to talk about. Muslim conquest, Muslim wars, jihad, Islam spread by the sword, and what have you, right? Part of being a Muslim is that you have to tell the truth. Whether it's for you or against you, you have to tell the truth. We don't get to spin narratives and pretend that those narratives are reality. We have to actually be honest. So I'll tell you, over the course of 1,400 years, millions of non-Muslims died at the hands of Muslims. That's a fact. No denying it. Obviously, exact figures are impossible to ascertain. And the numbers of casualties in battles back in those old days are generally understood to be exaggerated. But according to historians, from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam until today, somewhere between 15 to 25 million non-Muslims have been killed by Muslims. That includes the battles in Persia, the Byzantine Empire, the Levant, Egypt, and so on. You know, the early conquests, it includes Spain, all the battles of the Umayyads, the Abbasids, the Seljuks, the Ottomans, and so on. It also includes the massacres against the Armenians and the Assyrians. It even includes the civil war in Sudan, South Sudan, Darfur. It even includes acts of terrorism by like Al-Qaeda and ISIS and others. Now, of course, overwhelmingly, the majority of those casualties throughout history have been soldiers in battle, not civilians. But there were civilians too, obviously. So over the course of 1,400 years, Muslims killed around 15 to 25 million non-Muslims. That sounds like a lot, right? That makes you think that, yeah, it's true. Every civilization, every empire was violent. So why point to